Hello. Today, let us talk about nanotechnology. Recently, I had written some articles and scripts for radio programs which were about nanotechnology. And then I got suggestions that you've done that in regional languages. Why don't you do it in English on public platform? So here I am. Of course, it's a vast subject, so ideally it would require a series of episodes. But let's at least start for it right now. So today's is, of course, the introductory episode, and let's start with the name nanotechnology. Well, Shakespeare said that what's in a name? He meant that even if a rose is called something else, it's going to smell as good as it does. So, what is in the name nanotechnology? Does it have any significance? Of course, yes. If you know the meaning of the two words nano and technology, you get some idea about what it is going to be about. Technology, I'm sure all of you are very familiar with this world, its application of science, and we've had information technology, biotechnology, and so on and so forth. So we do understand there is some kind of a technology involved here. But what kind of a technology? And there comes the word nano. Have you heard the word somewhere? Have you heard of the car whose name was Nano? Well, there was a reason why that car was given the name Nano. And I would like you to guess it. What was the speciality of that car? Correct, the size. It was a very small car. And that is why the name Nano was given to it, because nanoscale refers to a very small size scale. Now, nano is actually a prefix. So I'm sure you've heard of prefixes such as centi, milli, kilo. So for example, if you attach it to meter, you know that 1 kilometer is 1,000 meter, 1 centimeter is 10 raised to minus 2 meter. That means 100th part. So there is a hierarchy. And if you divide 1 meter into 100 parts, it gives you 1 centimeter. If you divide 1 meter into 1,000 parts, it gives you 1 millimeter. So in this manner, if you go down the ladder, now I used one power here, 10 raised to minus 2. So centi refers to 10 raised to minus 2, milli refers to 10 raised to minus 3, micro refers to 10 raised to minus 6. And similarly, if you go down, nano refers to 10 raised to minus 9. So when I say 1 nanometer, it means if you divide 1 meter into 10 raised to 9 parts, one part will be of the size of 1 nanometer. Now I know that it's difficult to visualize. How small is it really? So let's try to associate some objects that we know with this. Of course, there will be one more question that you might ask that, okay, there's centi, there's milli. What's so special about nano? Well, I'm sure all of you are aware that all of us are made up of atoms. And these atoms have a dimension in angstroms or angstroms, the way you want to call it. It's 10 raised to minus 10 meter. Now, do you see the connection? 10 raised to minus 9 meter is very close to 10 raised to minus 10 meter. So, few atoms together can make up a nanoparticle. If you take hydrogen, as you know, in the periodic table, hydrogen has atomic number 1. It's the first element in the periodic table. If you take 10 hydrogen atoms in a row, together, it will be 1 nanometer. So it is that small. Or if you take your hair and if you cut it thickness wise, not length wise, thickness wise into around 10,000 parts, then each part will be that of around 1 nanometer. Now, do you understand how small it is? thickness of hair itself is so small, and then cutting it into thousands of parts, that means it has to be really small. So this length scale is nano. So in the nanotechnology, we are talking about manipulating matter and materials at this nanoscale. Of course, when you say there is a nanoparticle, one of its dimensions at least have to be in the range 1 to 100 nanometer. There are different kinds of nanostructures. There are nanowires, nanorods, nanodots, etc., etc. Now, it's not just about the size being small. You might ask that, so what if the size is small? Why so much attention is being given to it? Well, that is because when the size is in nano range, the properties of the materials change. They are very different from their bulk counterparts. All kinds of properties, electrical properties, mechanical properties, the properties like melting point, optical properties, etc., etc. To give you one very simple example, of course, we'll be looking at it in detail in further episodes, but to give you a simple example, all of you know what is gold, right? If you make ornaments of gold, ornaments of different kinds, say a necklace, a bangle, and an earring, this and that, will they be of different colors? No. All of them will still be golden. But if you are talking about nano gold or gold nanoparticles, solutions made up of gold nanoparticles and so on and so forth, the colors could have a range, like there could be red solution containing gold nanoparticles, or there could be a blue solution of gold nanoparticles, green, and so on and so forth. That is because properties of nanomaterials depend on factors such as size, shape, etc. So if you change the size or if you change the shape, then the color may change. So do you understand advantage of this in terms of technology? The advantage is if you want properties to be of certain kind, of course, that was for an application, that you have an application in mind, and for that you require properties of a certain kind. By designing nanoparticles of that particular size or shape, you will be able to obtain those properties. So this dependence of properties on factors such as size, shape, etc., there are some other factors as well, is very important. And that is what leads to designer materials. I'm sure you've heard of designer clothes, designer saris and designer kurtas and designer shirts, etc., etc. So if you want to get a designer garment stitched for you, you need to go to the tailor and give the specifications that, okay, I want the color to be this, the length to be this, what else, the sleeves should be of this size, and there should be this kind of buttons and this and that. So similarly, if you want nanomaterials of a certain kind, then you can tailor make them by controlling the properties. So that is very fascinating about nanomaterials. And of course, later when we'll talk about properties, we'll go into much details. Right now, I've just given you one small example, I would say one nano example, for you to at least understand the importance. Then you might ask that, okay, fine, these properties are different, but are they really affecting us? Because this right now, when I'm speaking, I'm not speaking just to science students that we do when we give guest lectures, etc. That we have an audience of, say, students of science or people from the fraternity of science, and we talk about nanotechnology. Now, this is intended for anyone and everyone. So you might ask, why should we know about nanotechnology? How does it influence our lives? So then I would like to say that, there's this line, you can hate it or you can love it, but you can't ignore it. It's a little bit true about nanotechnology because applications of nanotechnology are there in every field. There are applications in nanomedicine like targeted drug delivery. There are applications in sports, like for example, rackets are made up of nanomaterials of carbon, say carbon nanotubes or graphene. There are applications in having coatings on, say, your specs or your car, or even on textile materials to make it hydrophobic so that it will be stain free. Even if something spills on it, it will just roll over. It's hydrophobic. Hydro is water and phobia, you know what it is. So something of that sort. It has applications in cosmetics. It can be used in sunscreen lotions. So if you name a field, even a field like agriculture has there are applications of nanotechnology. So name a field and nanotechnology will have applications in it. So that's why it's going to influence us irrespective of whether we know about it or not. So might as well know about it. Of course, there are some, I would say, disadvantages, and that also we'll be talking about later in later episodes. But this is the technology, one of the most important technologies of this century, and a lot of research is being done into it. Gradually, products are being developed which are based on nanotechnology. So I would say that it's important that you know about nanotechnology. So this is an introduction. We'll keep meeting in further episodes talking about different facets of nanotechnology. Thank you.